Hello, everybody. Welcome
What's
to
up,
the
guys?
welcome to the first episode of the Frames of Shame show presented by Five Pin Universe. I am Christian. This is my friend Ashen. We are your hosts today.
Um, yeah, this is gonna be fun. We've been planning on making a podcast for a while. Um, and a couple months ago, Carrie came to us with the opportunity to make a show on Five Pin Universe. And right when he said that, we were like, yeah, might as well get the ball rolling on this. So no pun
So
intended,
it's
but we're here. We're
yeah,
here.
it's a great opportunity. We hope you guys give us a chance and listen because we think that there's going to be some pretty good insight along with some more lighthearted content as well.
Yeah, we're planning on having a lot of younger guests on than usual on the other podcasts. We want to talk more about like the youth side of bowling and how people have transitioned from youth to the pro scene and how all that's gone. So yeah, the two guests we have today are friends of ours. I think they will be very fun to have on a podcast, and so we asked them to do it, and they said yes right away. So let's invite our first guest in here, Conor Levitt.
We're doing good so far. Hold on.
Yeah, no technical difficulties at all.
Honor, welcome.
Hey guys,
Oh, Conor,
I'm actually at the lanes at Panorama,
we are at the lanes. We are on
so
the
I
lane.
I figure we may as well do a first ball of the day.
Oh
Ooh,
wow.
awesome. Let's see it live right
No
here on
bowling
Five Pin
shoes.
Universe.
It's just like the Instagram stories I see.
Not gonna make any excuses.
No excuses.
Oh,
Oh my god. Oh, I thought that was a two-pin. That's
The left
okay.
five.
not the
Do we have
worst ball
shoes
I've ever
on?
thrown,
Did
but
we
it
have
was a
shoes on?
great grunt.
We did hear a little bit of a grunt. That was nice.
There's some effort put into that.
I forgot I wasn't wearing bowling shoes, even though I just told myself I wasn't, and I did not slide.
Yeah, that's to be expected. Not gonna be wearing bowling
How's your day
shoes.
going, Conor?
Yeah, how are we doing?
It's been good. Things are busy here, like working at the lanes and getting everything ready for leagues, like seasons coming up. So, good time to have a podcast, talk about all that kind of stuff, as well as competitive season starting. I know there's been a couple tournaments in Ontario, but we can't go to everything. So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
I know. So, let's just start off. When did you start bowling?
Yeah, give us some background on yourself
Yeah,
for people who may not know you.
yeah, actually, good point.
okay. So, my name's Conor Levitt. I've been bowling since I was probably like 4 or 5. Like, started doing Bowlosaurus and YBCs. Bowled pretty much every year of YBC. I think I took 1 year off when I went to college. And then took like 4 years off to go to college, and then kind of re-entered into the adult world. So starting at the beginning with YBC, it was kind of a lot of just for fun for me. I had a more serious sport. I played baseball in the summer. I put a lot of effort and like my competitive energy into that. But I still like would compete, go to zones and youth challenge in Alberta, all these different youth events that I think kind of set you up to see a taste of if you want to compete or not. And then got an offer to go play college baseball in Kelowna, so I took that.
Oh, wow.
I took, like I said, 4 years off of bowling. Started bowling a couple of years ago in Kelowna. Moved my way down to Medicine Hat last year. Been here for about a year. This is gonna be my second season bowling here. That's kind of my bowling career in a nutshell, I
You
guess.
were in Calgary before you moved to Kelowna.
Yeah, so started in Calgary, bowling IBC out of Paradise Lanes. So, that's a great environment to bowl out of. Really fun, really challenging. Not the easiest house, but especially for YBC, it kind of like teaches you early that, spares are really important because it doesn't give you a lot of strikes. So,
That's awesome. So you've been all around the place bowling, or just your whole life. You've been
yeah,
in
like
different areas.
I went to Kelowna there and I was working at the lanes and I got my degree and played college baseball. And I think that's a big part of sort of my transition from taking it as like a sport that's on the side in the winter as like my fun time. And now it's a more serious event for me is going to these tour events and showing up in bowling cash tournaments. I'm still not as involved with competing as maybe I should be. I may have made every cut I've tried out for. I've been to, usually I frequent the Autumn Open, the Heritage Traditional. I went to Regina last year. Been doing the Beef Bowl now that it's started up. My first year in BC, my first year doing like adult tournaments, I did bowl masters, and I went to masters singles in Newfoundland, where I placed third. So competed at a pretty high level right out of the gate. I finished fourth that first year at the Heritage. So a lot of success early in my career, but it's also like it's just different coming into it as more of a mature bowler. Like I didn't have to bowl from 19 to like 22. So skipping those years and focusing all that energy into something else was like a very different thing for me. And then it allowed me, I think, to come and show up and be mentally ready to compete and win things and put my best foot forward in these tournaments right away. Whereas I think some people, that's a bigger process. Like they do a lot of their learning at these tournaments and on the lanes. Whereas I kind of got away with learning all of this stuff about myself as a competitor and what I valued and kind of the direction of my life through, school and high level baseball.
Yeah. So what did you notice changed from like before you went to school and played baseball and how your bowling was then and your mentality and all that to how everything was after and when you came back to bowling?
Okay, so the last time I bowled like as a youth competitor was the only nationals I ever made as a YBC bowler. And making nationals out of Alberta is a very tough thing. It's a very tough thing out of every province. There's usually at least 2 or 3 like good shooters there that are kind of guarding the gate on that one. But I grew up bowling against like Tyler and Bradley, and a lot of really strong youth from Edmonton, Ryland, Trevor, Tom, like just great bowlers from everywhere in my age division. So it was kind of like, it was attainable, but it was a hard battle. So I finally made it in my last year at YBC to a nationals, and my mentality at that point going into tournaments was very much trying to throw strikes. Like I was very focused on, well, if I just throw a strike every frame, no one can beat me. Like that was kind of something that I've definitely thought before in my mind. Like show up, throw a strike. And the other guy, what can he do? Like he can only tie you, right? If I just throw a perfect game every time. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I was at, like that mentality of like, throw a strike every frame. Whereas now, like through baseball and through school and just kind of maturing and growing up, I have started to really put more value into not like corny like second and third ball, but just put more value into every ball. Like now my mentality is very much more focused around throwing a good shot. I'm not trying to get a result. The results just happen. I'm not up there worried about throwing a strike. It's worried about, am I doing all the things in my power to give myself the opportunity that I deserve, right? Like, am I trying to throw the best ball possible right now, or am I trying to throw a strike? So I think that's one of the biggest differences is changing where I'm like getting value from the game from. Like it's no longer from a result or like getting a 300 or anything. It's all about, I go out and it's not really a tangible statistic. It's a feel thing. Like it's not, oh, I hit the middle 10 times. Well, that's great, but how did I feel? Did I throw 10 really good first balls? So now every ball matters, right? Because the first ball is the same as the second or the third. And that's something that doesn't resonate with everyone, but it's something that has really worked for me. And like applying myself and focusing through 3 balls a frame is a way easier thing to do now than it was when I was in YBC.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. For me, or people probably, well, for sure, people know way more about you and stuff than they know about me and Christian. So I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly introduce ourselves real quick. I'm Ashen. I'm a YBC bowler currently. I'm 19. I'm in my last year of seniors right now, so I'm about to transition to that more pro side. No more youth tournaments for me after this year. Um, Me personally, the mental side of the game is what I struggle with the most. I've been to a couple nationals, more during like bantam years and stuff. I've been to 3 of them, and then I recently finally made another nationals last year during YC. But yeah, one of the main reasons why I wanted to get you on is because I just wanted to hear more insight. I talked to you a lot at Heritage, and obviously whoever was there at the Heritage Traditional watching your whole run to the top 2 was amazing. A lot of people noticed how like lighthearted you keep it. If you throw a bad ball, you're like, oh, whatever, next one. It's it's very good and fun to watch. And yeah, that's why I really wanted to get you on the podcast to talk about these things, because me personally, yeah, one of the biggest weaknesses to my game, I guess I can admit, is my mental game. So yeah, it's good to hear a lot of insight about that stuff. And I think it's very important for other people too who may have need things to learn, would be good to hear about from you. Yeah, Christian.
Yeah, and again for me, I'm kind of in that like I'm in the same year as Ashen. We're both in our like last years of youth bowling. For me though, I've never qualified for a national tournament or anything like that. I've come second, I've come third before, but I've never been able to kind of finish it off. And I felt a lot of that throughout my bowling career has been I've weighed down this result of like you're gonna come first, like you have to, like if you don't, like you're the worst person ever or whatnot. And it's only like now that I'm kind of more maturing as I start to like play more of these like WCBT tournaments or as I like start the open, it's like just gotta focus on not the result, but just your personal actions because at the end of the day, you're not gonna be able to control what other people are doing. Whereas you can kind of ground yourself and know that you're still gonna put effort into this shot or you're gonna move on from a bad shot or whatnot. So like would you say, because my mentality going into this season is that I'm just it doesn't matter how I place in anything, as I'm just gonna go out there and just do my thing. Like making a nationals isn't gonna be the objective, it's just gonna be competing. Like is that something that you would kind of agree with or
Yeah, like I genuinely think that bowling is a very special game in the sense that no two competitors have to be the same. There's so many different avenues of thinking and ways to get to a similar result. There's so many people who have like come before us and performed and done super well, like people that like achieved averages that frankly I don't think anyone will ever achieve again through like a 32-week season or however long. And that kind of just points to me that you need to kind of embrace who you are as a competitor, and the first step in that is discovering that. So I say like get out to tournaments, try your best, and like see where you're at as a competitor, what motivates you, what doesn't. um just to give a quick example of that, like when I was at Masters Nationals bowling as a single, like I said, that was like realistically it was 4 years removed from my youth career, but it was like my first tournament as an adult. So it was like it was very not jarring, but it was like I was lost. Like I didn't really know what I was doing in that sense. Like I was bowling in Newfoundland, and if for anyone who hasn't bowled there, they put on a great show. First of all, like Newfoundland was amazing. The proprietors at Plaza Bowl were great. I think it's the Glynns, but they bowl like they were bowling in the tournament and running the show and like hosting everyone in a very great manner. So nothing but good things to say about that. However, there's no oil on the lanes. It's very, very dry. So for someone that usually throws a relatively straight shot, I have good rotation on the ball. At a dry house, that translates to like 16 more boards of movement than I'm used to. So going there and doing that was like rediscovering everything. And a lot of that for me was like trying new things while also maintaining the same confidence that I've had. Like my shot is my shot. I'm confident in my shot. I know that it's going to be successful at a lot of houses. And now it's all about adjusting little things to make it successful at a different, whether it's super oily or super dry or however you want to think about it. But having that base level of confidence and then running with that But the big thing that got me there was when I qualified to bowl step ladder. So I had to bowl head to head against Dwayne Gilardi. And he came out of the gate and was throwing just hammers. Like, he was bowling really well. I could not find a shot that felt like me. And I was trying to pump myself up and have all this energy and be, like, bigger than life and bigger than myself. And that was a big lesson for me in realizing that that's not going to work moving forward. And after that tournament, and even after like my YBC nationals, like I really felt like I even there, right? Like, I felt as if I was so busy trying to be something I'm not and achieve this level of energy. Like, I'm not going to go Super Saiyan on the lanes. Like, I need to stay within myself and provide that energy in a more consistent and like reliable manner. You can't go and expect to, output this high energy like thing all the time. And naturally, I'm a very high energy person. So maybe to some people, I still seem like I'm, up here all the time. But at that tournament in specific, I recall like just being way out of my comfort zone, not knowing what I was doing. And then from there, like, take that home, analyze it, build on it, go from there. And that's kind of the process that you need to have in order to find yourself as a competitor and know if that's the right move for you. So to answer your question, yeah, I think that it's important to, ground yourself and really put value in the everyday things, the mundane things, not just in throwing a strike or placing first or averaging high. Like, it's all about throwing a good ball. And if you can do that once a frame, twice a frame, even 3 times a frame, right? Like, you can have a great frame in bowling where you go, excellent shot, head pin, clean up a 5, clean up a 5, or head pin, 3 pin even, right? Like, it's just, that's the reality of the game we play. So if you can find a way to not let that bother you, and you can find a way to use that as a constructive building block to move forward, I think there's a lot of power in that. And that's where you're really going to start seeing, what do you value as a bowler?
Yeah. Very good answer.
Let's so you are like heavily involved at Beef Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Let's can we talk about that for a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Something else that's like really important to me is like, not like cliche, like, I just want to give back to everything. Like, I don't know. It's kind of fun, I guess, but I do like wearing different hats in the bowling community. Like,
Mhm.
I'm a general manager at the bowling center. I'm a certified level 2 coach in Alberta. Like, I will coach youth challenge. I coach youth events. I'm also like a YBC coordinator. I'm obviously like a very high level competitor. Like, I'm going to these events and actively trying to compete and like, win whatever. And then on top of that, I'm now like volunteering time to work on this new cash tournament, the Beef Bowl. So it's like there's always a lot going on. And I think that's something that people will struggle with regardless of age, is like, what is your role in the bowling community? Like, if you're someone that wants to get involved, it's a great place to get involved. If you want to take your community coaching, or you're just turning 16, or whatever level or stage you're at, if you're 29 years old and you don't really know, where to find value in your life, like, this is something that I personally has found that to just, it just builds on itself. You meet so many good people, you do so many good things. And now I'm kind of like trapped in this vortex of like, I don't leave the bowling alley, which I like. So
Mhm.
it's kind of fun.
That's interesting. I've heard that like have worked at bowling alleys and also bowl, like from majority my age, they usually are not too fond of it. Not many people like living in a bowling alley 24/7. So that's interesting to hear.
Yeah, the
Because me
difference is that I
personally,
don't have
if I
any
was
friends.
yeah, if I was living in a bowling alley, or like not living, but like working there and bowling there and just pretty much spending 75% of my time there, I'd go insane. It would I would not be enjoying myself, but yeah,
I can't.
I feel like when you're involving yourself in all these different things like coaching, um, and obviously organizing a tournament, um, I feel like that could get pretty interesting and like make you enjoy it more, being involved in more stuff. Yeah.
Honestly, for me, the more like the more stuff I get involved in, the more motivated I am
Yeah.
to do more
Exactly.
stuff. Like it feels like a bit of a kind of like a domino effect. It's like, oh, like join this board, and then I'm like, then I get my coaching. Now I'm managing youth challenge next year for Edmonton, and like frames of shame and all that stuff. So yeah, I kind of say I'm one of those people that kind of just like thrives in this environment, and yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
About the
think that
beef
that's
bowl.
good. Like there's a
Um,
lot going on with kind of what direction you're taking it. And I think that's a big thing to just differentiate is that not everything has to be 200%. You don't have to like sink your life into being in the bowling alley. Like
yeah,
I've
no,
chosen this and it works for me, but burnout is like a very real thing. And like a lot of people that, have like proprietors that compete, even like stuff like that, like they find it difficult to keep connecting those dots and staying at the top of their game while also working through, struggles with, I got a problem with this lane, I got this. So just start where you're comfortable and never think that you're stuck. Like you can always just say no. Like I've been
yeah,
asked by a lot of youth bowlers this year to go bowl the Master Youth in Calgary. And I'm like I would like to, but I need to also prioritize myself and my my longevity as a manager here, and I can't take off 3 weekends in October. And it's like now it is, do I want to use my time to coach this youth tournament and help develop young minds, or do I want to bowl the Autumn Open, or do I want to bowl Masters? Because right now I can't do all three. So for me, it's finding that balance of like I'm still going to bowl the big tournaments I want to bowl this year, but on top of that, I'm still going to make time to like, do youth challenge and coach these like events that have a larger audience. Like I find that I coached last year and I think there's like 5 kids on your team, but I genuinely think I impacted about like, I want to say every kid. Like I
yeah,
think that there was like, I have a presence when I'm there that is beneficial to everyone. And that goes beyond that. Whereas if I choose to spend that weekend doing master youth, I might be impacting like 10 kids. So for me, it's finding that balance and like discovering, where's my value? Do I still want to compete, or I could not do the autumn and do master youth, but I think that a lot of people would be very upset with me. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Back to the beef bowl. It's well, by the time this podcast comes out, yes, this is a pre-recorded show. Um, it's the weekend of the podcast or weekend of the release day of the podcast. So, is this the second year or third year of the beef bowl?
Yes. So this is the second year of the Beef Bowl. It goes from September 6th to September 8th. Um, Essentially we're just trying to create like our mission statement and what we're trying to do as a committee for the Beef Bowl, and the proprietors at Panorama Lanes, like the Deerings, have been very on board with this. Is we're trying to create like the next premier cash tournament for 5-pin bowling. And we're now like discovering the challenges of that and like enjoying the successes of that and finding unique ways to provide value to the community.
Yeah. Yeah. No. From every person that has gone down to the beef bowl last year, everything I've heard about the tournament is great. Like the way you guys organize it, how fun it is, the different events that go on because it's not just bowling. Obviously, the main reason why people go to these tournaments is to like go see their buddies from like other areas, see people that they might not see usually, and just like talk and just socialize with everyone. But like I feel like the beef bowl does a very good job of that. I haven't gone, and I unfortunately can't go this year because it falls on the first week I go to school, unfortunately. But I've heard like I've talked to you about it before. Like there's a big dinner that happens and stuff like that. I think it does a really good job of doing all the things right for like a bowling tournament and also outside of the tournament for like what people want to do and like socialize and get together with everybody. I think it does a really good job of that.
yeah. Just kind of like only one person can win beef bowl, but everybody there can still get that experience of like all this, like the dinner, like is Molly still there? Do we have?
I don't know if Molly's coming back this year. I think we're bringing Snowflake, and Snowflake has a
Okay.
baby named Coconut.
Are
So we're
you
bringing
using
Snowflake
cows?
and Coconut.
Yeah,
Oh
they
yeah,
bring like
I saw some videos of the cow. They were funny.
it's pretty good stuff. I don't know who would be crazy enough to like try and climb on a cow, but if someone was crazy enough, there is a risk that you will get like, cow poop on you. So I don't know anyone that would do that.
No, I don't know either.
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So I think too with the beef bowl, like the big thing, like you said, like I mentioned, there's like we're discovering the challenges and trying to grow. Like going into year 2, we have way more entries than we had in year 1. Year 1, I think we had like just about 100 entries. Now we're at like 180-ish entries.
Mhm.
So obviously that number will go up and down, right? But the big thing is we're way bigger than we were last year. We're hosting way more of our friends here. I don't think half the people on the committee know what the format is for the bowling because that's not really our primary focus. Like the bowling takes care of itself. It's run very professionally. The lanes are on time. You get to practice. The lane draw is correct. It's going to switch lanes. You have carrying over totals. Like we have good people on the back end that are doing all of the hard work. And that goes a long way with every big cash tournament. Like I know I've been to quite a few, and there's ones where you're just like, okay, this was an issue with technology, and that's okay, right? Like things happen. But with the beef bowl, like it's just so much different because the emphasis we're putting on community and creating a space for people to not just compete at like the highest level possible. Like we got some of the best shooters in Canada coming down this year. Like you can look at the entry list and there's lots of names, and then I'm not going to just say everyone that's coming. Like I highly encourage you to take a look and sign up if you're available. But the main thing that we're trying to focus on is providing that aspect of what happens when you're done bowling, right? A lot of these cash tournaments and tour stops, all of the things, like you go to this event, you pay your $250 or however much it is now to bowl a shift. You bowl your 8 games. You either make the cut, you bubble, or you don't make the cut, and then you have a tough decision to make. Am I going to bowl again, kind of thing. And then after that, what's the next step, right? Like, do you sit in the bowling alley where it's really hot and you're in a basement and it's sweaty, and it's just there's lots of stuff going on, and some tournaments have more value than others in that regard. Like obviously the facility is like a big part of that, and at Panorama Lanes we have such a nice facility. Like we have 16 lanes of 5-pin, 12 lanes of 10-pin, a big open lounge area, tons of room to breathe, lots of room to go up, and like room for spectators. So we're really encouraging people to bowl your shifts, stick around, let's hang out, let's talk about it, let's talk about life, let's reconnect as people, because a big problem that we see is that people are just so disconnected from each other, and this community didn't used to be like that. Like the 5-pin community used to be way more tight knit, and now it's almost like there's certain circles that you have to be in, and the beef bowl is a place where it's more of a vacation. Like personally, when I go to certain cash tournaments, I don't feel like I'm taking time off work. I feel like I'm there and I'm really focused and I'm mentally exhausting myself to perform really well. And then after, I may have made the cut, I may not have made the cut, but am I like enjoying my vacation days, right? You're taking time off work to do something. Whereas at the beef bowl, you're here for 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. You get live music on Friday night, live music on Saturday night. You get a dinner fed to you on Saturday night, a steak bite dinner. So it's like there's more value in that sense. Like your $200 entry covers a lot of other costs. Like you're getting fed, you're getting live music 2 nights a week. Like that's kind of awesome. Like that's just, where else is this happening, right?
Yeah.
It's almost worth it to come down and just spectate. Like genuinely, like if you're thinking about coming down, like just do it. Like this is a party. We're here to have a good time and like facilitate everyone, coming together in a safe place where, it's entertainment. It's not just, hey, come bowl and then, go to your hotel room or go to the casino or do whatever you want to do after that. Like, no, come bowl and then, let's jam out to some tunes. Let's eat some food. Let's enjoy each other's company and like, maybe learn about each other a little bit and get along.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole point of the Southern hospitality of it.
Yeah. Are you guys at capacity right now, or how many, like, do you have a rough amount, like rough guess of like how many spots are open, or?
I think there's like infinite spots. Like, not that
Oh,
we're
okay.
not like full, but like some shifts are always more busy, right? Like afternoon shifts at cash tournaments are always more busy. The last shift is always busy when people like re-entering, or they just want to bowl one shift. But like the way that we're kind of dealing with it is we'll just add a Thursday, like next year we're going to grow more. We're going to have to add a Thursday. And then after that, we're going to have to add, another shift. Like there's 16 lanes that can be run 24 hours a day. So
Yeah.
we can have a morning and afternoon and a late shift. Like it's just, there's so much room for people to come and bowl. And it's not like that'll never be an issue. Like if people want to come and bowl, there's always going to be like a means to facilitate that. The big thing is like getting numbers and then providing the meal. Like how much food do we need to make? How much do we need to have pre-ordered and like predetermined? Like that's like an additional challenge that maybe other tournaments don't have. But the people is like, it's just all about creating value for your money. Whereas another tournament, you pay your $250 and then you can just leave the bowling alley and never go back. Whereas with the people, we want you here. Like, come hang out with us. Let's talk about it. Let's figure life out. Let's eat some food and listen to some music. Like that's really what we're trying to do. And the capacity is just going to grow as the tournament grows. Like we'll find ways to add shifts or create more.
All right. Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely, if I do go down last year or next year, I'll be looking forward to it. I think it'll be a fun time. But I think our second guest today has been waiting long enough. This recording's been about like 32 minutes. I think we should get him in here. And actually, the winner, the guy who just swept the Beef Bowl last year, Ryland Willier. Let's get him in here.
Cream's a shame signed athlete, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Don't forget that. Don't forget that.
Welcome, Ryland, or Big Kev.
Big Kev.
Big Kev.
Yeah. You want to tell us the origins of that name?
Yeah, so I got it at Open Nationals this year because I think my ID like popped out of my wallet or something, and someone seen it and they see my middle name was Kevin, so I'm big, so now I'm just Big Kev.
That makes sense.
There we go.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's a good name.
All right, how's your day been?
Yeah. Your day's been good, Ryland?
Oh yeah, sure, it's been pretty good. Just
Yeah.
chilling.
You've been out for a little bit. I know you went to the club tour.
Club tour.
You almost made the cut there with one arm, which is impressive. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately you broke your collarbone, right?
Yeah, sitting in a sling here for a couple weeks.
So is that still going to be in when you bowl the Beef Bowl?
So I actually got some unfortunate news yesterday because I had a doctor's appointment. I'll have to go for surgery on it sometime this weekend because it's like healing in the wrong place. So
you heard it here first, guys. Pipe Universe.
People might not be a thing for me, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Not the defending champ can't. Oh,
that's
unfortunate.
That's tough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. When is do you have your surgery scheduled, or?
It's just like an on-call thing. I'll get something this weekend. I'm just not too sure.
Oh yeah. So before we dive into like the whole Beef Bowl run last year, because I think that was very not shocking but impressive. I don't think many people have dominated a tournament as much as that before. Can you give some background on like your whole just bowling career when you got into bowling and just how that whole thing went?
That's where it all started.
Yes, sir.
I think it actually goes back to your brother. I went to school with Jeremiah, Ashton's brother, and he was one of my good buddies in elementary, and I always heard about him talking about going to bowling, and Dad just came home one day, I think it was like a Friday or something, and said, "You're going to bowling tomorrow morning." And it's
made you go to league.
It's not ideal when you enjoy your Saturday mornings for cartoons, and then all of a sudden you're waking up for 9 a.m. to go fucking bowling. But we enjoyed it the first year. We made nationals, and then
you made it the first year, right? 2013, or did you go 2012?
It was 2012.
You went 2012. Who was that with? That was when it was 4-man teams.
That was still back when it was 4-man. Dylan Hagen, Ira Burns, and Kai Robinson.
Oh yeah.
And then 2013, we went back to back, made nationals again in Vancouver.
That was a good year. That was fun.
That was a good year. That was me, you, Jeremiah, and Dylan again.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was last year, Bantams. 2014 didn't make it. 15 didn't. 16 we did. We were a junior boys team in Calgary. It's me, Dylan, Ira, and Tyler. Doppler. What else? 2017 we were close. I think. Connor, what year did we lose to you?
Like for provincials?
Yeah, for doubles.
I wasn't there. I think it was 2018 because it was Scott
Yeah.
Circle and another guy from Paradise. I think his name was Braden.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
So 2017, 2018 came up short. 2019 we came up short. That was the year that Conor and Scott made it.
Yeah.
And then we made 2020 actually, me and Dylan, but COVID canceled that one.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, it was a good team. And then 2022, me and Matthew made it
Mhm.
for YBC.
How many
doubles.
nationals is that? 6, 7, 5?
It's a
I don't know.
bunch. It's a bunch.
A
I also
bunch.
got a youth challenge in there in 2019.
Right. You made the All-Star team on that one, or
Yeah, unexpectedly. Yeah.
unexpectedly?
I didn't think I threw as well as I did to earn that, but it happened.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, obviously just recently you've made that jump from YBC to the pro scene, and you've done bits. You've done a lot. You've won a bunch. How obviously you developed and got into it quickly, but like how did that whole process go?
I think I just got started in the adults like early enough. Bradley Titka actually got me started in the Wednesday night match play league. It was like a super league on Wednesday
Oh, yeah.
nights. All the pros were playing. Brad, Tim was playing it my first year. I think Adam Weber was. And just playing against those guys, you're going to learn from them right away.
Yeah.
Because they were watching me too while I was throwing down there, and they're giving me tips, and I'm asking tips from them. And yeah, they're just starting the big leagues, then started playing the pro tournaments. I think it was like my second or third pro tournament. I made a pretty good run, finished 5th. That was at Heritage, the traditional.
How old are you?
16, 17, something like
Jeez.
that. Yeah.
Casual age to do that at.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously runner up of the tour finals last year. You completely swept obviously the Beef Bowl and the what was it, the Autumn? The year or the year of that you made the tour
Yeah,
finals.
leading the
Yeah.
Autumn Open in all 3 rounds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want to like talk to us about that whole Beef Bowl run? Since we've been on the topic of Beef Bowl and Connor's here. How did that weekend go for you?
It did start off great because my first shift, I think I sat on like a low 2000 or like a high 1900, and I thought it was going to be good, but I was obviously delusional because I think the cut ended up being like maybe 30 or 40 pins higher than that.
Oh, wow.
So played another shift Saturday. Well, I kind of threw my secret weapon there as well because I know like I bowl my best when I'm like pretty hungover. So the Friday night baker or trios or whatever, I said like we got to get shit faced, so we did. Had a nice hangover for the Saturday afternoon shift. Through that, I think we finished like 20 to like 70 or something. Like it was a good score.
Yeah.
But then I woke up Sunday like just sore as hell. So Curtis gave me some like it was some kind of like horse cream because he's a farmer, right? So I rubbed that on my leg. I was like, I'll see what happens with this. And then I think I started my day off playing Kerry Snyder, grabbed a beer, and then we went to the next round.
How every
Grabbed
day
another
should
beer.
start off.
Yeah, and we got off to the next round, grabbed another beer. Third round, another beer, and then I think I had beers anyways for all the rounds up until the finals. And then the person I played in like the last round of the finals, Ryan O'Callahan, he was doing the same thing. So, but like, you know, you had 20 beers that day, you'd think he'd be pretty hammered. It was fine. Me and him we were laughing.
It was fine.
Jeez.
And yeah, he was just, you know, he's feeling loose. He rolling well.
Yeah, and you won both sides of the bracket on that one.
Yeah, both sides.
Yeah. Leaving the chance to another person this year. not going down.
That's polite of you.
Possibly. You know, I wasn't supposed to throw last weekend at the club tour, and I did. So if I have to throw from the hospital bed, I will.
We're sitting in a wheelchair, chucking the ball.
That's right.
It's just that good of a tournament. You can't miss it.
Only Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Oh my. Alrighty then. So tips from Ryland are to have a beer every round of the cash tournament.
Yeah, for the youth watching this podcast.
Yeah, maybe not the underage.
Maybe if you're a youth bowler, maybe have a glass of apple juice in every round instead.
Milk
Or
is
stick
good.
to
I don't like
non-alcoholics.
milk, but milk's good.
Stick to non-alcoholics.
Alcohol is not for everybody. We have somebody here who's been
Yeah.
completely sober his whole life, and we have Ryland with yeah.
So,
Other end of the
I think
spectrum.
that
Is
is
that like
interesting. Like, a lot of the stuff Ryland was saying, like we're not like opposites, but we have like a lot of, you know, obviously we're opposite in that sense. Like I've always been sober, never under the influence. Ryland's someone that has like cracked the code and like can achieve just performance excellence under like pretty much any condition, which is like a whole different level. But even going back to what he was saying earlier about, you know, he was 16 bowling this big tournament and he placed really well, and he was bowling in these leagues with, you know, you name dropped Adam Weber and Brad and stuff like that. Like that's a really big difference too in our journey to being like competitive bowlers as adults now. Because when I was 16, like I was not taking it seriously. I was losing every provincial event. And, you know, I turn 18, I move away, I don't bowl for a few years. I come back at 22 and I've never heard of, you know, a Wiseman or a Davies or anything. So I show up at this big tournament in Red Deer for the first time in my life, climb the ladder to 4th place, and I'm like relatively unknown and I have no preconceived idea of anyone I'm bowling against, right? The finals was Derek Orne, Brett Mapstone, and then myself and Ryan O'Callahan. And up until that point, I don't think I've ever met or thought of or heard the name of any of those guys. And those are like some big players that a lot of people know. So that's just an interesting difference too in how there's so many ways to get to wherever you want to be in this sport.
Yeah, for sure. Like me personally, majority of my youth has been at Bonnie Doon, and then just 2 seasons ago I switched to Sherwood. And even just from that, like I knew beforehand of like some of like the bigger names like Weber, obviously the Wisemans. But when I switched to Sherwood, I would spare a lot in the Sunday match play there. And then I ended up joining it the second year. Last year, I joined it, and that was my first year in match play. You learn, like Ryland said, obviously that's not as stacked of a league as the Wednesday nights were in the past, like with Weber and all those big names. But there's still like a lot of big names in that league. Like there's Tyler, Dexter, Tim, Brad, all those guys.
Tyler's in Calgary this year, but
Yeah. But I feel like bowling in the presence of like those guys definitely helps evolve your career a lot, especially when you're younger, competing not against per se, but like on the same lane next to or like with those people definitely help a lot with your development and let you learn like a bunch of things. Like even just having small talks with them, like you gain like a lot of insight and learn a lot of different things. It's very interesting and helps a lot. But yeah.
And like even some like confidence of like being able to play alongside these bowlers and even like beat them on occasion, and like physically you can be like, oh well, I beat this person in a match or like whatnot, or I kept up with this player, and like it shows that like you can still compete against them, and that in reality it's like it's not that far off or that far fetched to take that step to that next level in a sense.
Right. I understand what you guys are saying about, you know, the big names, but like not trying to say anything poor about anyone, but a big name is just a big name at the end of the day. Like every single bowler that is there to compete is capable of throwing a high 300 game or a 400 or a perfect game. And every single bowler that's there is capable of throwing a 178 or pulling a hamstring, or, you know, there's anything can happen. And like none of that should kind of be in your mind when you're competing. Like I'm pretty sure I've beat almost every big name out there at least one match.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's not saying that I'm a better bowler than them or that they're a better bowler than me, but it's just that when your mindset is no longer attached to, hey, I beat this guy. Hey, I can keep up with this guy. Hey, this guy taught me everything. Like dissociating from that and focusing on your shot and your game, there's no defense in bowling. So I find like I know a lot of guys that are going from youth to the adult. If that's a concern in your mind and you're ever worried about, oh, I have to bowl against Ryland, like I've had that thought before. You know, I've lost that guy a lot, but that's not the like it cannot be in the front of my mind when I'm on the lanes or at the same tournament as him. Like I have to just recognize that I have the capability to be the best bowler in the building, and I just have to work harder and do the best that I can to achieve that, regardless of how many big names are in the hat.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a very good point. Yeah, you can't be intimidated by everyone or by anyone. You just got to throw your game. I think that's a very good point of insight.
Yeah, and I think Ryland does that really well. Like you said, he bowled against pretty much every big name on that Wednesday Super League, and now he's wiping the floor at tournaments with everyone. Right? He'll show up and he'll bowl really well. And like Ryland, I don't know if you want to speak on that or what your mentality is when you're going up against these guys that you faced as a youth and now you're facing as a pro. Because I don't have that insight. I never bowled against these guys when I was 16.
I think you got to look at it. How do you think those big names got to be where they were? They started out in the same place you were at.
Yeah.
So, like, egos can get to people, but you just gotta. You're at that tournament for a reason. You know you can compete. You know you can throw the same scores that those guys can throw. Maybe just not as often or not as consistently, but you have the full like capability to do it. You just gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah. Obviously, in rare cases of youth bowlers, sometimes it clicks right away, but for most people, it takes like a good bit to get up to that level and to be more consistent and shoot higher at these big cash events.
Well, it's
Like me.
just going back to ego, right? Like,
Yeah.
you come out of YBC and you're one of the top YBC shooters. Of course, you're gonna have a bit of an ego. You take that ego into playing against the adults, it's just not gonna end well because they'll destroy you. They'll eat you up.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think for me, because like when I spent the first first 7 years of my bowling at St. Albert Bowl, which is kind of just outside of Edmonton, and I never really was tapped into any of these players. So when I started to pay more attention, I'm looking at, I'm like, holy crap, like this guy's averaging a 300, and when I throw a 300, I'm like all excited and stuff. So it was almost more like desensitizing myself to these scores that people are shooting and just being able to more casually like not idolize a number and to just throw a shot, and that's made those higher scores more easily attainable for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. From when you switched to Sherwood, I definitely noticed a big switch in your bowling and like your whole mentality and stuff, and I think that was cool to see. Yeah. I had something I was going to ask. Now I forgot. Damn. We're well prepared here on the Frames of Shame podcast. We're well prepared here. It's going great.
I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, when I switched to Sherwood, even like I was now in a league where because at Sherwood we have a youth match play league, and every single bowler I'm facing is perfectly capable of destroying me just as much as I am destroying them. But now it really helped me focus more, whereas there wasn't as many like higher-ish like 200 plus average bowlers at St. Albert, like, and it wasn't the same sort of format obviously as well. It kind of brought a lot more focus to me. It made league matter more. It made me concentrate more. It kind of used a lot of that as like practice to focus that translated into being less nervous at tournaments, as every day at league was almost like a mini tournament.
Yeah, each place suits their own though. Like no shade to any other bowling alley.
Yeah, no, I'm just
every place has their own format.
Except for you, St. Albert.
Okay.
Get a match play league.
Do you remember what you're gonna say?
Have a match play league for youth?
They have one for adults, but That's it. That was kind of my that adult, like that Tuesday. They have Tuesday nights. That was kind of my first exposure to some of the bigger names. Like I know, like Jamie McCara and like Brett Mapstone were like both in that league, and I'd see them a lot. That's where they kind of, I mean, Brett would shit talk me, and Jamie would like help me. So there's there's some different people out there, but that kind of helped me see some of that. And then eventually I started looking at like WCBT, like Pro League, just listening to the main podcast as well, and getting their insight on stuff as well has helped a lot.
Yeah, this is your guys' first time on a podcast, right? I don't think you guys have been on a different podcast.
Mine too.
Yeah, mine too. All of us here. This is all new to us. We're
all rookies.
So like just a question for Ryland. Like, so you, correct me if I'm mistaken, but you won Autumn Open your first like full year out of YBC, right?
No.
Yeah.
Second year after.
COVID was in the way of that, right?
My last year was 2020. There was no tournament in 2020. 2021 was Kerry Snyder, and then
right.
I thought you played. I thought you graduated YBC in 22.
No.
Like end of.
Oh.
Because you that was the year you and Matthew went. So you did.
Absolutely right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know more about Ryland's youth career than Ryland does.
I do. And Big Kev does,
So would you say that, like, was that, like, I know that you won straight out of the gate, but was there any kind of, like, adjusting to this adult player had competing from such a young age made you, it just felt like business as usual at that point?
Like, are we talking specifically just having success at that,
like, just
first tournament, or
like, do you think that all of like the hold on, let me just get my train of thought. Technical difficulties. Anyways, so did your like experience already going into like your first year of adult already competing as a kid in these tour events help you with playing like the Masters or like WCBT or the Open or just any sort of?
Yeah, I think so for sure. Like you were saying, I just started playing at such a young age. And I think too, like a lot of credit I have to give to these guys is the people I had like playing in the youths or whatever. Like I played against Tyler, played against Bradley, Jenna, and all those guys are like top players in the country now. So I always wanted to be like them. And, you know, just kind of set off my competitive edge and just wanted to get better.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, well, definitely when you're surrounded by top talent, it's going to help boost your game way faster.
Oh, you want to be them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On a way more serious note, I had a question prepared for Conor. I think a lot of people want to know this. With your approach, what's with the wiggle? Where did that originate?
Yeah, so the wiggle is a very controversial topic in the sphere of 5PU. You know, is it legal? Is it not legal? Who's to say? You know, I haven't been called on it yet, but that doesn't mean they won't in the future. But essentially, like, for a real answer, the wiggle is like something I do as part of my pre-shot routine in a sense. Like, it's not the same every time. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It's all about being comfortable and like letting my body do something while my mind settles itself. Like, I can't just stand up there rigid and like fix my brain and then shoot. Like, I've got a big mental routine I go through, and wiggling helps me solve that, right? Like, I need to feel grounded. I need to feel like I'm in that moment and, you know, remind myself like you're throwing a hammer right now kind of thing. So with that kind of going on, if I'm stiff as a board and then go to shoot, I'm just like, that's so much worse. And then it kind of has developed more and more into a wiggle as I've just become more and more comfortable not caring what anyone thinks on the lane, like I'm a very like respectful competitor in that sense. Like I've never hit a bench or a ball return or kicked anything or, you know, thrown a hissy fit or stepped on a mop or like I've never done any of that stuff. I've just been like in my own lane in a sense, and that's like a freedom that's afforded to me because of, you know, my confidence isn't tied to what other people are thinking. So if I'm on the lane wiggling, it's not to get approval or attention or anything like that. That's what helps me do my shot and be me in the lane. And it's almost like a reminder that, like, you know, the more you're able to just be yourself and throw your shot, that's where like the magic is. Cause like I can't throw like Ryland and I can't throw like Derek Horn and I can't throw like Dexter Wiseman. Like there's no sense comparing yourself to people that see success. You need to like find your own path there. And for me, the wiggle is the path. So it kind of is like representative of some things, but at the same time, it's also like I just can't sit still. So it's kind of fun.
I think people notice that watching you bowl in tournaments, you cannot sit still at all.
There's just so much going on. Have you ever been to a tournament? It's exciting.
Who else has stepped on a mop? I've never seen someone step on a mop.
Do we have any, like, I think there might be a clip or something. Have we, is that?
Oh,
yeah, that would not be a good pre-shot routine.
That's not what you want.
I heard that's actually how Ryland broke his collarbone as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It looks like I came right up and snapped him.
Yeah, got me.
Man, I wish he did it again right there, though. That would have been amazing.
Imagine it just steps on it. Well, just to add to like what you were saying about your like sportsmanship on the lanes, Connor, I've heard people have asked you to not cheer for them as your opponent.
That has happened. I think that's also something that's been like evolving for me is like, you know, genuinely like that first year I was at the Heritage and even my first year at the Autumn, like at the Autumn, they have like bench seats and you can just slide. Like at Paradise, you can slide. So like they're on this lane and I'm here and then they go to the other lane and I slide over and I get to watch like their line and watch their ball. And like, I was genuinely just like so intrigued to watch guys that threw a good ball, right? Like I never bowled a league with anyone that averaged over 250. Like I was not bowling. And then when I was bowling, I was in Kelowna and there was like maybe 3 guys and you don't really see them at any tour events. So it was very interesting. I remember watching Sly bowl at the Autumn and I was just like, I couldn't take my eyes off it. Like when he went to bowl and then like, he's like cleaning up a head pin or something. And I'm just like watching so intently. And he's like, dude, like what's going on? And I was like, hey man, you throw a great ball. And he's like, man, I threw a head pin. And I was like, yeah, but like, how good was that ball though? Like, did you see the way you released that thing? And he's like, well, yeah, I guess it was a good ball. And then he walked away because he was trying to compete against me. But now it's a lot better. Like I'm not as in someone's business and I'm trying to be very like respectful with the space, but it's never something where I'm like, you know, trying to watch it just to watch it. Like I just like watching a guy throw a good shot. And like the more fingers on the ball, the better. Like it's just insane. Like I got the best view in the house in the pit against you. Like no one else gets to see what I get to see. And to me, that's part of making the cut. Like when I make the cut, I'm afforded the opportunity to sit in the front row and watch other people throw good balls. Because like I said before, there's no defense. Like they're going to bowl their best and I'm going to try and bowl my best. Like, and if a guy runs like an 8-bagger on me, I'm going to try and run a 9-bagger, right? Like there's no preparation or battle against it. It's just, you know, go throw your best shot and I'm going to be here and I'm going to hope you do good. And I'm trying to be respectful that bothers some people. And I'm, you know, if you ever are against me in a tournament and you don't want me to cheer for you, just ask and I will do my very best.
I have a feeling you just want to get in people's heads, Connor. That's all it is.
It's actually like a very motivating thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy.
There's a lot of thought behind it.
There's just so many people in bowling that have never been loved before. So like when someone's genuinely into what they're doing and like showing them genuine support, they're like, this is awkward. And I'm like, no, man, like just embrace it. Like you're doing great. And they're like, okay, like you're freaking me out.
You don't know how to react.
It's just, and I mean, like I could take that burden on myself and like remove myself, but I personally, then what's the point of me making the cut? I don't get to watch anyone else bowl. Like that's exciting. Like I genuinely like watching Ryland bowl the beef bowl. He's the only person I lost to. I lost to him on both sides of the bracket. And then I just got to watch them bowl, and I got to watch like Mark Miller bowl, and I get to watch, like, it's insane the difference when you're in the pit and when you're not. Like, you can see so much more from down there, and I think that's a big thing too. Like, if you're looking to take your game to the next level and, like, you know, start bowling these adult tournaments, a big part of it is like look and listen and just learn. Like, be willing to learn. Like Ryland talked about the ego. Like, if you check the ego at the door, you're so much more open to, you know, change and discovery and finding, like, hey, that's something that's pretty cool, right? If anyone wants to try a wiggle, I mean, go for it.
I think I'm gonna try the wiggle this season. We'll see how it goes for a day at league.
Yeah, and then like find your
Get
own wiggle,
loose.
you know?
Yeah, come up with my own thing. So that's the thing about five pin bowling. So many, like, everyone's throws are like so like different. Like Ryland starts off the lane with one foot on, right? I know you switch it sometimes, but usually you're just straight off the lane, right? And you step on. Yeah. And then Conor with his wiggle and other people, it's just everything's so much different. Like, you have to find your own style of five pin bowling. There's no copying anybody. It's all like you got to find what suits you.
You have to focus just more on your own personal delivery and not what it looks like to other people, because you're not going to throw the same ball that Conor throws or Ryland throws or Tyler throws or whoever. Like, you're not going to look like them. There's only one of that person. You're going to have your own tendencies and habits that are going to be just a part of your game, and that's something you need to accept.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
back when I was younger in
And-
YBC, I always want to just throw the ball as hard as I can, try and throw like a really good looking shot. But that's going when you're learning how to, well, not learning how to bowl, but like just trying to evolve your game and get better. That's not what you want to do. You want to find something that feels natural to you and just feels good, and that'll get you results, not try and copy somebody or make it look the best. That's not, yeah, that's not the way to go about it.
Yeah, I think someone good to bring up too right now is like a bowler that averaged like 264 last season, like great bowler, made a couple cuts last season, looking to get more and more competitive, wins the Open in the South Zone like every year. David Sisko, probably the ugliest shot of all time, also one of the most effective shots of all time.
Watch it come out of his hand. Like,
Yeah, he bowls goofy foot. He takes like the weirdest steps you've ever seen in your life. And then you look up and he's got 5 in a row and you're like, oh, yeah, that just happened. Like, it's crazy that you can genuinely throw off the wrong foot and you'll be fine. So yeah, find the comfortable and then just run with it and then start developing your mental game. And then, right, that's how the pieces start coming together. But you can't keep trying to be something you're not.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, no, there is no wrong foot, there is no wrong arm, there is no wrong amount of steps. Like, everything's just whatever you want. I mean, you don't want to take 20 steps on your approach, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I mean, if that's what gets you a strike, then like,
Yeah, exactly. How tough did you find it bowling with one arm, Ryland?
It's like I threw a couple balls on Thursday last weekend before I threw my shift at the club tour, and like, you throw with one arm all the time. Technically, you just use the other for balance. So I just really had to like slow down and really, really focus on my balance. And we tried it and kind of worked. Not
Yeah.
like 100%, but it kind of worked.
Yeah, no, that your other arm and balance is definitely a really important factor.
Yeah,
It throws your whole.
absolutely.
there. What's the 2024-2025 season gonna look like for both of you guys?
Well, I think after I had the surgery, 2 months of being in the sling, I can still bowl. So hopefully make it down for the autumn, TPC, Manitoba, and then they'll play the Open and Masters for sure, but we'll have to see about Regina and Heritage.
Okay, what about you, Conor?
I think I'm just gonna like throw the beef bowl, and then after that, nothing matters. Like, just
only the beef will matter.
Fair enough.
That makes sense.
Like, it's priority 1. I don't know. Like, all these other tournaments will just come and go, but right now it's like we're a week and a half out. You saw my first bowl of the day. I think I'm not in good shape yet. So, there's some work to do, and I got to get in the beef bowl mindset. And then after that, it'll just come as it comes, and we'll see where I end up. But
Yeah, maybe start with putting on some bowling shoes.
yeah, that might
No
help.
socks,
Yeah.
maybe.
Get your own personal balls. That might help.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's how you. Well, obviously, you guys have been working on it all year round. How much work is it organizing one of these tournaments?
Well, it depends how many people you have that are committed to like the cause in a sense. Like it's all volunteer stuff, and there's not a lot of people that, see a ton of benefit out of doing it. Like not even the host center gets that much out of it. Like they'll make some money off the tournament, but the amount of work to host it and then staff it and all this stuff, like you're lucky to break even if you get proper payouts and lineage. And it's just, it's a lot of work, and you have to have the right group of people. Our committee's been pretty solid. It's just like a small group of people that want to see it succeed. Most things in the South are a small group of people that want to see it succeed.
Mhm.
And, after being here for a year, it's very different than anywhere else I've been. Like growing up in Calgary, I wasn't as connected to the sport. Like bowling out of paradise, like I know that like our YBC program was really good. And that's thanks to like Mark Miller and Maria Wood. And I'm sure there's lots of other people there that I wouldn't have any idea because I'm not that connected. But when I went out and I bowled in Kelowna, BC has no infrastructure for that kind of thing. Like there's no proprietors that are there and available for that kind of thing. It's a struggle to find centers to host things. It's tough in Bowl BC. Like we're very, very lucky in Alberta. And I think especially so in Southern Alberta that we have proprietors that care and people that care. And, the goal isn't to make money or achieve something. It's quite the opposite. The goal is to, create that space for community and engagement and bring people back to a place where you can let go of your life for a weekend and just reconnect with people. And I think that that's a very powerful thing. And, obviously it's going to be a lot of work, but it doesn't feel the same, right? It doesn't feel like I'm breaking my back. It feels like genuinely I'm trying to host the best party we can. And the worst part is I'm going to have to clean the pin decks and change all the tape on the pins and make it look pretty. And like,
Oh no.
I know. So if anyone would like to volunteer and come down a day or two early, like anyone, that would be awesome. If you're seeing this podcast and you're free tomorrow, you could come down. The cows will be here. It'll be great.
Oh, the cows are worth it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to see how the weekend goes. Again, I won't be there, but I'll be keeping up with everything. It'll be interesting to see all the stuff from people.
Yeah. And it'll all be live streamed as well. So I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure Barry's taking on that burden yet again. So, there's a lot of good people helping out that even, not associated with the committee. So just a testament to the community of competitive bowling and trying to find ways to make things happen. So
Awesome. Yeah, good time to get you guys on. Very good time. But yeah. All right. Any other topics we wanted to address, or
Any closing remarks, guys? Or
Does anyone have an idea of what, or any guesses of what the cut's going to be?
what was it last year?
well, yeah, what was it last year?
Conor, was it like 20 and a half? Somewhere around there.
man, I don't do
I don't know.
numbers.
I knew I had high 19, low 20, and it was like gonna be too close, so that's why I played the extra one. So like even if we say it was 2020 last year, like just say that.
We are on. I'm gonna find an exact number.
We have twice as many like individuals now.
As
bowlers.
last year.
Yeah,
So it's
so-
gonna go up.
It's gonna go up, but I also think that like the cut is gonna be higher than it should be and not as low as it could be. Like it's gonna be in the range of like show up and play good because this house has good pinfall right now. Like we've been working really hard and putting money into providing better pinfall for everyone, and that's not something a lot of centers can do. So we're pretty lucky to have like the resources and the opportunity and the know-how. Like we've had the lane doctor in for like a couple weeks in a row and he's fixing things up. So it's pretty well run and it's like a clean house. So I think the cut's going to be higher for sure. but that's not a deterrent. Like, I genuinely think everyone's going to throw way over their average because like the pinfall's just true. Like, you throw a chop off, you're going to get a chop off. You throw a chop off, but you throw really hard, you're going to get a 12. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, no, is there a, unfortunately, I've never had the privilege to bowl at Panorama. I was supposed to go down with Christian for Youth Challenge, but unfortunately the day of I woke up with COVID and I couldn't go. So like for Panorama, which is it similar to any other lanes with
Absolutely.
pinfall or feel wise? Or what would
No.
you say about that?
No, like the thing is, like, you walk into a center and, like, you know, you can say the pinfall feels a certain way or the lane's a certain way or the ball reacts on the oil a certain way, but like
Right.
you walk into Panorama lanes and it's like a warm hug is around you. Like, you're there and like you're supported and you're just gonna throw hammers. Like,
Just
no other
cozy.
bowling alley has the same feel as Panorama lanes. Like, it's wide open, you can see everything. As far as lane conditions go, it's just gonna be strikes. Like, you just have to show up, and throw your shot. You can throw up if you need to. I don't know. I think there's probably a couple of people that do that before they bowl a big shift, but yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Like, the pinfall is gonna be there. The lane conditions are always good. It's gonna be consistent, and like, it's just not even a thought. Like, it's just that's how bowling should be. And now we're focusing on all the aspects of where we want bowling to get back to being. So that connection and all of that stuff.
Yeah. When Connor's the manager, you know it's gonna be good.
Yeah, or it's gonna fall apart. But I got good people behind me that are keeping it together, so that's good.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Just for the record, the cut last year was a 2023.
Oh,
Hey, that's what year it was.
That's 2024 this year. That's my
Yeah, it's all right.
prediction.
2024. Do we want to like write these down somewhere? I can write down these predictions and we can.
Oh, you're gonna revisit the frames of shame when Big Kev takes home the double-decker trophy with one arm,
with one arm.
Post
one arm
surgery out of a wheelchair.
from the hospital bed. Holy!
Well, so what are we? What's the cut line this year?
2069. Nice.
That's a good number.
It's a great number, actually.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go with 2024 just because it's funny.
Go.
Is this like Price is Right rules?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you cannot go over.
Right to the cent.
Right to the.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say somewhere in the range of like 2,500, like maybe a little lower. Like, it's gonna be big.
Okay.
No 28s.
It's gonna be a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
Oh, I accidentally wrote myself down as a.
Ryland could make a 2,800 cut.
Wait,
That
Ashen,
8
what
gamer
was
was
your,
crazy. That 8 gamer was crazy.
what was your prediction again?
You sorry?
What was your prediction again? I did not write it down.
2024.
Okay, 2024. I'll go 2072. So we got Ryland with. Ooh, wait. Oh, if it's. This is gonna.
Your guess is in, Christian. You can't change it.
Yeah, that is. So if it's over 20, if it's over.
You have to be
2025,
2022 or 2023, Christian.
I think
Or
it's
not
gonna
set
be
yourself
like
up good there.
265 average, which is
Sorry?
probably like a 2,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think a good prediction is like how many people are gonna like ride a cow and like get cow poop on them.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a big factor to the cut.
Yeah, under over 7.5. I think I'm taking the over.
You think so?
Yeah, I think
Cows
8's
poop that
actually.
often? I don't know much about cows.
Well, all they do is eat
Yeah, that's
and like
fair.
poop. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like a baby without the crying until they like start crying a little bit, but they
Okay.
get over it faster.
So we got Ryland with 2069, Ashen with 2024, me with 2072, and Connor with 2,500.
It's
On
got
the
to be
dot.
close.
No
All
way
right.
you're under. No way you're over.
Yeah, I think I'm playing like the safe line.
That's yeah. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
So whoever wins has to host the next podcast by themselves.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
it's
think that's how it works.
No
but
guests.
Sure.
No guests, just talking to themselves the whole time.
For a
All right,
whole
so
hour.
it's gonna be the Conor Levitt show because he's
Yeah.
I'm doing it in a hot tub.
the
Hot Tub Stream podcast. Come on.
There we go. Get the viewership up.
Awesome. Well,
That'll be a high viewership podcast.
pay to
You
watch.
might want to see that.
Well, I think now is no time better to conclude this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Frames of Shame wise, we have some videos planned and stuff. Obviously, the whole Youth vs. Pro series. If you guys have watched it, go subscribe to the channel. Obviously, follow 5 Pin Universe if you haven't already. If you don't, I don't know how you're watching this, but
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, follow everybody on their socials. We'll have some new videos coming out. The Youth vs. Pro series will continue. We have some more stuff planned along with the show. So yeah, everybody follow us. Giveaways. Stay posted. We will be giving away some decent stuff in time for the next show. So stay in touch with our socials. Turn notifications on if you want. Yeah, we will have some more information on that sometime soon. But yeah, thank you, Connor and Big Kev, for coming on the show. We appreciate it. We really wanted to get you guys on. We're happy you did. Yeah, Christian, anything?
No, you took words out of my mouth there.
Oh, sorry, man. All right,
He's always
anything else, Connor or Big Kev? We all good?
All good.
Play the clip
It was a
one more time.
blast.
Yeah, we
All
need.
right.
What clip?
Oh, yeah, one clip. Play the clip.
Play the clip. Oh,
Man,
Oh, oh, oh.
can you rewind it? Can we just watch that part one more time?
reload it.
Yeah,
Reload it.
Yeah,
Reload
there
it.
we go.
Oh. You know what? Like usually stuff like this gets like overplayed and like it loses its kind of appeal.
That's
How
never
old
going
is
to.
that? Like it's
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
losing.
What?
Do
Wait,
you-
play it again. I want to see the
Yeah.
time on it. The date.
2022.
2022. 2 years.
Do we think that every time we play this video, Tim
Almost
just feels
three.
a sharp pain, just like
Yeah.
wherever
It's
he
like
is
a
right
voodoo
now?
doll.
Yeah.
I
think so.
genuinely think that Tim just feels sharp pains all the time anyways. Like I think that that's just where he's at in his life now.
He's getting there.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't know. Every time I talk to the guy, he's like just pure electricity and then immediately like, I am in pain. Don't get old. And I'm like, I'm trying, I guess. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm on his match play team for the 2nd year in a row. Every time I see him throw a ball, he just looks like he's in pain. It's so sad to watch, but yeah.
He's just taking straight. Oh my gosh, this
He's
is
falling apart, man.
Sorry, Tim.
Sorry, Tim. Not really.
Yeah, don't cut this.
Don't. All right. Yeah.
well. I'm gonna.
The show's only gonna get better. This is our first time doing it. Everyone here, first time. It's not gonna be only me and Christian hosting it. Other people from the crew are gonna come in. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, watch the next one next month. We appreciate you guys tuning in.
Thank you, Carrie, for this for
Yes.
reaching out to us and giving us this opportunity to put our show on your platform. And yeah,
This did not feel like an hour 20.
this felt
was-
like 5 hours.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Well,
Are we
we'll
ready?
see. Yep. We'll take Conor and Ryland out of here. Bye, guys.
Get him out of here.
Well, my only thing left to do is play the commercial.
See you guys. Thanks for tuning in.